We'll just go ahead and get started. So welcome to the 86th annual meeting of the members of SouthPoint Financial Credit Union. My name is Troy Diedrich. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at SouthPoint. Our meeting today will be led by two presenters, Matt Lux and Jay Gostanzik. Matt is the chair of the SouthPoint Board of Directors, and Jay is our Chief Executive Officer. They will be followed by a special guest speaker, Miriam Ackerman with NetGiver. Also joining the meeting today are volunteer members of the SouthPoint Board of Directors, the Supervisory Committee, and the Community Advisory Committee. For a listing of the individuals on our board, Supervisory Committee, and Community Advisory Committee, you can open your annual report, which should be at your tables. Or if you're joining us online, which if you notice the camera, we are streaming this annual meeting as well online. So you should have in your annual meeting report a listing of all of the volunteers for the credit union that you can reference back to pictures and their names. This meeting, like I mentioned, is being live streamed. It'll be recorded and it'll be saved to our website in the coming days. If you have any questions or comments about the meeting or the format, we'd like to hear from you by sending an email to marketing@southpointfinancial.com. Again, marketing@southpointfinancial.com. We'll be happy to follow up with your comments in the days following the meeting. So to start, please welcome Matt Lux, Chairman of the Board of Directors and volunteer on our board for the past 20 years.
Thanks, Troy. I want to welcome members to the SouthPoint Financial Credit Union annual meeting. Members are able to attend virtually. A few notes before we get started. Today's business meeting will be followed by a special guest speaker, Miriam Ackerman with NetGiver. After the business meeting, we'll draw for prizes by random draw from the ticket you received in person, and online attendees have been assigned a ticket. So now I'll call the 86th annual meeting to order. And one more item to bring up here is motions. During the business meeting, there will be a few requests for motions. To make a motion, indicate your motion and state your name for both a motion and a second. We will then verify that with the attendee registration list. Pursuant to our bylaws, proof of notice was published in the second quarter newsletter and contained within the March 31, 2022 statement. Notices have also been posted at each branch office 35 days prior to our meeting today. Declaration of quorum. SouthPoint's bylaws specify that we need a quorum to conduct our annual meeting. Troy and Mike Krieger, who is vice chair of the board, based on the number of attendees, can you assert that a quorum is present?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. The minutes from the 85th annual meeting held virtually on April 13th, 2021 are included in your packet and available on the registration website. The bylaws require that those minutes be read unless there is approval to waive the reading of those minutes. I would entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and accept the previous annual meeting minutes as presented. Do I have a motion? Ash makes a motion. Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Gordy Osmondson makes a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Or yes in the chat box if you're online. Motion carries. The happiest person in the room is Mike Krieger, so he doesn't have to read the minutes. So now move on to the report of directors. 2021 was a busy year. The board and management team tackled many issues during the year. Some issues were on the radar and some were addressed on the fly. As a team, we worked together to lead SouthPoint in the direction that is best for our membership. As a board, it is our duty to keep SouthPoint a strong financial institution, both at the present time and into the future. During 2021, SouthPoint worked on several initiatives, both long-term and short-term. The one daunting project that everyone has heard about is the core software conversion. This has been a long, multi-year project that has involved everyone at SouthPoint. The board approved this initiative months ago after an extended period of research that was conducted by the management team. An outside consulting group specializing in this type of upgrade was hired to keep all parties on task. This included both SouthPoint and the software companies. They acted like a moderator in the middle to make sure that both parties were hitting predefined goals to reach predetermined milestones along the journey. The board is updated regularly on the progress and made aware of any changes or concerns. The core conversion was a major project of the year, but we also had other initiatives. These included the expansion of our field of membership and expansion of the board to 9 members and appointing members to our supervisory committee and community advisory committee. All of this was done while providing continued service to all our members. Looking forward, SouthPoint will have a busy year in 2022. The economic conditions, both domestically and worldwide, have made an impact on our journey. SouthPoint is set up to react to these changes as they occur. There will be challenges ahead and we will be addressing. Some of these include retention and recruitment of employees, along with continued education and training. Another is the demands of data security. This is one of the most important aspects of a financial institution's existence. SouthPoint invests a lot of resources to make sure members' data stays secure. And lastly, the need to maintain and update all of our software platforms will continue. SouthPoint made a large leap forward by upgrading our core software, and in the future, we'll be doing more to stay current. The investment in software outside of our investment in people and talent is the most important part of our responsibility to provide service to our members, whether that is face-to-face or online. In closing, I would like to thank the management and staff for their hard work and commitment to SouthPoint. The investment in time and talent towards the core software update was and still is remarkable. Your hard work is what makes SouthPoint a success. I would also like to thank my fellow board members for their service and commitment to SouthPoint and its members. Most of all, I would like to thank all of the members of SouthPoint for their continued support. Moving on, I'd like to make the report of the Supervisory Committee. The Supervisory Committee report is included in your program and within the annual report that is posted on our website and attached to this webinar. The Supervisory Committee includes Jennifer Asmus, Ash Goyle, and Chairperson Tammy Helgett. The committee is charged with the responsibility of overseeing the audits of our credit union to ensure compliance with governing laws, regulations, and policies established by the board. The Supervisory Committee's highest priority is to ensure members' assets are protected and safeguarded through those audits. Also, through regular internal audits, they work closely with the audit and security officer regarding procedures with day-to-day activities. The credit union contracted with a nationally recognized and professional outside CPA firm for our annual agreed-upon procedures audit for the financial activities of the previous 12 months. The findings were minimal, and working along with SouthPoint's management team, recommendations were addressed and corrected. A verbal report of the results was also presented to the Board of Directors. The Supervisory Committee concluded they are confident adequate controls are in place and operations are sound. On behalf of the board and management team, I want to thank the Supervisory Committee for all of their work they do as an independent voice for the membership. Now, moving on, I'd like to introduce our CEO, Jay Gustanzik.
I haven't been as gifted with height, Matt, so I gotta pull this down. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to address the membership today. You know, it really feels good to be back in person at an annual meeting and to connect with our members. Kim assured me that I need to keep this speech within 2.5 hours, so I'll do my best to be able to do that. You know, but at the same time, you know, the world's changed quite a bit. We've really grown accustomed to using technology in order to connect with others.
At SouthPoint, the year 2021 presented itself as a way for us to continue what we do best, remain focused on people helping people. From providing scholarships to graduating high school seniors, to hosting Shred Day, member events, and getting back out into our communities, we had a busy year. In addition to events, we unveiled new products and services to members, like cashback credit card, Amazon Alexa connection, and a smart search tool on our website. We're proud of the work that we accomplished last year, and we're excited to highlight some of the efforts for you in our 2021 Year in Review video. Enjoy.
I like SouthPoint because of the customer service.
The team is always great. I come in, I'm in and out in less than 5 minutes.
The customer service is outstanding. I love that it's so easy to use online.
donate $50 to the Heart of Minnesota Animal Shelter using the NetGiver app. They'll receive your full $50.
Every penny donated to organizations like the Springfield Food Shelf count.
Wish you a very Merry Christmas, and I got a little gift today for you. I'm going to read The Night Before Christmas.
I hope you enjoyed that look back at the past year. We certainly had a productive and fun year. As we continue into 2022, I hope that you will get to see our staff in action with smiles on their faces. Thank you for your loyalty and membership at SouthPoint.
You know, there's a couple things that I challenged myself while I was watching that video. The first was to count how many smiles. Well, I got about maybe a minute into the video and I lost count. You know, there's a reason why they're smiling. We're giving back to our members. So what can be a better feeling than that, giving back to our members? You know, reflecting on 2021, I can confidently say that it was a challenging year. Maybe more challenging than ever before. But it was a remarkable year at the same time. I'd like to briefly highlight a few of the major milestones that happened in the last year, in addition to what you saw in the video. First, the pandemic. You know, at the start of 2021, we were still working through some of the challenges brought about by the COVID pandemic. Like many employers, you know, this brought some staffing challenges, as Matt had mentioned. Many of our staff were in and out of quarantine, which created a challenge for us to be able to keep our branches staffed. A tight labor market also ensued, and we're working hard at trying to find the right people to serve our members that have the right values and the right philosophy of our cooperative movement. Next, the milestone of $500 million. I didn't imagine coming here about 9 years ago that we'd be at $500 million so quickly, but here it is. Despite all the challenges that we had, deposits, stimulus payments continued to flow into the credit union, as the credit union was a safe haven for all of those deposits. We surpassed that milestone and broke through it for the first time in 2021. It's a major milestone for our organization, and it demonstrates that our members trust the credit union. They have placed their trust in us and placed their trust in the cooperative. As you heard from Matt, perhaps one of the most important projects of last year was our core conversion. You know, we were converting a 30-year-old system. The credit union was on it for over 20 years. You know, imagine driving a 30-year-old car. Might not be as reliable as it was when you first got that car. Might still run, but at the same time, it's not as reliable. It became pretty clear that our 30-year-old technology in a financial institution was not allowing us to serve you, and it needed replacement. This was the largest project that the credit union had ever undertaken. And it took over 2 years, if not more than that, with all of the planning, the training, the preparation that had to be put into it. The conversion from the credit union's perspective went about as well as we could have hoped for. Debit cards worked, checking accounts were still there, online banking actually worked. So in the grand scheme of things, the core conversion went very smoothly. However, our members may not have experienced the same smoothness. There were some challenges. So as we looked at how your accounts were linked prior to the core conversion, after the core conversion, the naming did not come over. In addition to that, there were some frustrations as far as how things showed up on statements. A few weeks ago, we made some changes. We heard feedback from our members, and we're working hard to be able to make sure that we can bring the same perspective that you had on the previous system to the new system, yet this new system is a brand new car. It's a vehicle that's going to be able to allow us to bring you products and services that you expect in today's world. Feedback as well. We heard a lot of feedback. Constructive feedback, but yet our members supported us. Today I had a conversation with Marjorie, who's probably still in the audience. Recently had a conversation with Deb, another person named Colleen. I appreciate hearing all of that feedback. We need to hear that feedback because there's changes that we can make to improve that system and make sure that you love it just as much as we do. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Patty. Patty is our Chief Operations Officer, Patty Gold, and she was the leader that helped us through this entire process. At times, she probably had tears. At times, she was just enthused about how engaged our staff were in making sure that we were getting that system capable of being able to serve you in the future. So Patty, thank you for your leadership through that process. Our field of membership expansion. Last year, we expanded our field of membership by adding 4 additional counties. We now have a total of 23 counties that we can serve members in. In addition to that, we updated our bylaws to include patrons of the SouthPoint Foundation to become eligible for membership. It's our goal to provide a better alternative, safe, fair, and affordable products and services to everyone who resides in those 23 counties. From a governance standpoint, our board adopted new governance and training policies. In addition to that, expanded our board to 9 board members. These members serve as the voice of the membership, and they volunteer their time, their energies, their experience to be able to help ensure that this cooperative continues to move forward in the best interest of you. This is a great opportunity for us to be able to have a group of volunteers to be able to lead us well into the future. North Mankato. So as we continue to grow, we need to find space for people. Interestingly enough, during the pandemic, some of our people are now working from home permanently. However, there's still opportunities for us to attract talent in other communities that we now have branches in. So we remodeled part of that North Mankato office, and it provides additional back office space and space for our call center. Lastly, our products and services. This core conversion, as I mentioned, it brings us the opportunity for improvements, including many of you who know the new premium checking account, which pays 2% on deposits. Our cashback credit cards, our vertical debit cards, and these are just a few of the products that the core system has enabled us to be able to do. More enhancements will be coming into the future. So these are just a few of the accomplishments in the last year. I'm extremely proud of the hard work, the dedication and commitment that our staff have put into your credit union, along with our volunteers. They continue to add value every day in everything that they do. So to demonstrate the health and overall growth of the credit union, I'd like to share some charts with you. It wouldn't be a financial institution if we didn't share some charts and graphs and numbers for you. But it's important that you understand how strong your credit union is and where perhaps maybe there are some opportunities. So I'd like to share these charts and focus on 3 main areas: growth, asset quality, and earnings. So from a membership growth standpoint, this is a great chart. You can see the numbers are going up dramatically. Last year, we grew over 2,500 members. Now we have 28,700 plus members. That's nearly a 10% growth rate. In the credit union industry, the average growth rate for credit unions is just 3%. There's something going right at our credit union. And that's a significant margin. You know, it's a reaffirmation that our cooperative business model, what we're doing is delivering value to you and also to your communities. As a quick overview, the line on the chart shows our assets, and the bars show our loans and deposits. The credit union grew by $77 million in 1 year, ending at over $509 million in assets. The blue bar, we also grew loans, $19 million, and in the green bar, deposits by an astounding $72 million. Just looking at asset growth, this depiction just shows the percentage of that change. And as you can see, our growth is the blue bar, and you can see the peer bar is the green chart. We were at 17.8% asset growth last year in comparison to our peer credit unions, only at 11.9%. Now, the definition of peer credit unions, I know we've covered this in the past, however, it's currently $250 to $500 million in assets. Now that we achieve that mark of $500 million, we get to compare ourselves against the big guys, the larger credit unions. And even looking at the larger credit unions, they did not have this much of a percentage of asset growth. Again, a reaffirmation that your credit union is adding value, and this is a safe haven for you to bring your business. On the deposit side, the main driver, of course, was our asset growth. In 1 year, the credit union took in $72 million in new deposits, and we grew by 19.1%. Again, outpacing our credit union peers by a pretty significant margin. With all the excess deposits that we had, loan demand was not quite as strong at 6.1%, just below our peers. Some of this was due to the credit union offering business loans, whereas some of our peer credit unions do not offer business loans. And as a result of that, of course, as we dealt with Paycheck Protection Program loans, we had a lot of loan payoffs last year because they were forgiven. All right, switching to asset quality. So with that many deposits, with that many loans, how well are we doing? How well are those loans performing? You know, despite the pandemic, and there was a lot of concerns at the beginning of the pandemic about some fallout that financial institutions might feel. You all might remember the bailouts and the Great Recession and all of the dollars that had to be given to banks in order to prop them up to survive. In this situation, it actually did not work that way. The stimulus dollars, the Paycheck Protection Program, and the low unemployment rate helped to keep our members and also lots of other consumers from defaulting. Industry-wide, we've seen some of the lowest delinquency and lowest charge-off ratios in history. So as far as loans to total assets, you know, the strongest deposit growth, or the strong deposit growth that we had in credit unions in general, just this takes a look at how many loans that you have in comparison to what your total assets are. A higher number, generally speaking, is better because that's your earning assets in the credit union. And so you've seen that we fell quite a bit. Well, that just mostly is as a result of all the deposit growth that we saw in the last year. But we still remain higher than our peers, which is consistent in previous years. Our delinquency is an anemic 0.07%, which is astounding. And that, you know, that just tells you a reflection of the strength of our borrowers, the loyalty, and their ability to repay and to pay us. They value and trust the credit union for their business, and our communities are strong. In comparison to our credit union peers, 0.4%, again, that was the lowest peer ratio in 20 plus years, looking back in history. So it was a phenomenal period of time where there was a lot of money in the system, yet there wasn't many losses. So asset quality remains very strong. Our charge-offs, again, an anemic 0.04%. Again, similar things. So what we took in losses, was at the lowest level on record for the credit union. We continue to perform much better than our peers, that 0.04% in comparison to 0.19. So lastly, earnings. With the lowest interest rate environment that we've seen in a long, long time, the real estate demand was very strong. It was the strongest in the history of the credit union. In addition to the last round of Paycheck Protection Program loans, it allowed us to provide help to struggling business owners and help the credit union with non-interest income. By the end of the year, these two items specifically helped us have the strongest bottom line in the credit union's history, with over $4.5 million in net income. More importantly, that allowed us to be able to grow our equity by 7.5% to over $55 million in equity. So those non-interest income items are not loans and the interest that you earn on those loans, but Paycheck Protection Program loans and the income that we earned on that, fee income, but also secondary market loan income, mortgage loan income. A lot of our loans we sell to the secondary market and we service those loans, so we still have that relationship with our members. That allowed us last year to be able to have one of the highest non-interest income percentages to our total assets that we've had in a long time. Our operating expenses, so although we had great income, we managed our operating expenses very well. Our strong asset growth resulted in us being slightly higher than our peer. However, you can see the credit union, with the changes in the economic conditions, we needed to manage our operating expenses very well. Return on assets, so that's the ratio that demonstrates the credit union's profitability and how efficiently the credit union is being managed. Essentially, how we utilize our assets to generate income. Specifically last year, the major impact, of course, was that non-interest income that we had just talked about. And lastly, our net worth. More importantly, the capitalization. So how well is the credit union capitalized for the future, for future investments on behalf of you, the member? This number slightly fell last year. However, again, the large asset growth, the large deposit growth that we had caused that number to pull back. And you can see that in addition to our peers as well, their net worth position also fell. But grand scheme of things, the credit union remains extremely strong, extremely well capitalized. These are just a few of the heights that we achieved in 2021. Hopefully you can see by these financial results in this presentation today that we're focused on adding value. We're focused on giving back to our members. And in closing, I want to thank our phenomenal staff, our volunteers, for their dedication and their commitment, their hard work. It's through their efforts on a day-to-day basis in serving you well that your credit union remains strong and a highly successful cooperative. Lastly, I want to express appreciation for all of you joining us and taking an interest in your credit union. Most of all, I wish you a happy and healthy 2022, and personally and financially. I want to thank you for your partnership, your loyalty, and your trust. That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jay. Now we move on to unfinished business, and at this time there's no unfinished business, so we move on to the new business, and there are two items that are new business. First, in accordance with the credit union's bylaws, I should say the first new business will be our election of new directors. And in accordance with the credit union bylaws, the nominating committee has nominated the following candidates for the terms that expire at the annual meeting. Charlie Gravel for a 2-year term, Michael Krieger for a 3-year term, Robert Weiss for a 3-year term, and Jerry Forster for a 3-year term on the board of directors. Pursuant to the bylaws, these candidates, along with their biographies, were published to the membership via the December 31, 2021 member account statements. The statement inserts also included information on how members can be nominated by petition. The deadline for nomination by petition was February 2nd, 2022. As no members petition to be added to the ballot, and the number of nominees equals the number of petitions to be filled, the bylaws authorize the declaration of each nominee elected by general consent. So with that, congratulations, Charlie, Mike, Bob, and Jerry. The second item of new business is adoption of new bylaws. Pursuant to the credit union bylaws, in 2021, the board of directors has performed 2 bylaw amendments since the last annual meeting, and because of that, is required to report any amendments to the members at the next annual meeting. The first amendment was the adoption of the standard bylaws provided by the Minnesota Department of Commerce, with the exception of keeping the existing elections language from the previous set of bylaws. The second item, or second amendment, included adopting a new field of membership to reflect 23 counties and patrons of the SouthPoint Foundation. After approval by the board, an application was submitted and approved by the Minnesota Department of Commerce. So that concludes the new business. We'll move on to today's special guest speaker. This year we have a special guest, Miriam Ackerman, who is the co-founder of NetGiver. NetGiver is exclusive to credit union charitable giving NetGiver is an exclusive to credit union charitable giving application, which SouthPoint is a partial owner. The NetGiver app provides members the ability to give to their favorite non-profit charities for free and ensures 100% of those donations are received by the charity. Miriam Ackerman has been actively involved in developing creative products and business solutions for over 20 years. Her professional experience has carried her from the creative, industrious, to sports, to healthcare, and financial technology solutions. Currently, Miriam is the Chief Strategic Operations Officer at DNT BLNK, a Minneapolis-based venture studio focused on developing, building, and advancing startups through strategy, partnerships, brand, and product development, where she is a co-founder of NetGiver. So let's welcome Miriam Ackerman.
You know, I've never heard my biography read out to me. It's a little bit intimidating. And the other thing is, after 20 years in the performing arts, I still prefer to be behind the scenes. So thanks for bearing with me today. And thank you for welcoming me to your annual meeting. It's a real pleasure to be here. I get to drive down from the cities, enjoy the scenery, take a breath from all of the busyness, and then join you this afternoon. So thank you. Jay talked about there not being a better feeling than giving back to members. And what I see in SouthPoint is that extends beyond just the members to the community as well, that there's not a better feeling than supporting the community. That video was full of instances of ways that SouthPoint, The members, all of you have given back and supported, and NetGiver is just a piece of that and gets to be a piece as it grows to support you, your nonprofit organizations, and all of those that it benefits. I don't know where the clicker is. So NetGiver is owned by SouthPoint in part, which means it's owned by you. And when SouthPoint became an owner of NetGiver about a year and a half ago, we were just figuring this out. We were just figuring out, how do we solve the problem of fees to nonprofit organizations. Nonprofit organizations have a cost to receive donations these days. So how many of you support nonprofits, whether that's a faith organization, a church, a pet rescue, a food shelf? Yeah, so many of you. And did you know, well, let me ask this. How many of you write a check for all of your donations? Okay, a good fair number. When you make a donation with anything other than cash and check these days, there is a cost. And that cost is something that started to develop with credit cards, but not just credit card fees, the platform fees, everything that's needed for a nonprofit to accept your generous gift. There's now a cost to every single one of those gifts. That adds up to $18 billion every year in this country. That's $18 billion that could be doing more for our communities. And that's where credit unions like SouthPoint have stepped up and said, we believe we can do better for our community. We are cooperatives, value, mission-based cooperatives that we can give back to our communities more fully and more freely. So NetGiver is essentially, if you think about it like this, it's Venmo for charitable giving. It is a way for you to give directly from your credit union account to a nonprofit without incurring any of those fees, any of those $18 billion of fees that nonprofits are paying each year. Now, if you think about that, that's small on each donation maybe, right? That's $3 here, $5 there. But when you look at the community impact of all of our donations, that adds up to significant amounts, and our gifts can go further. So when we talk about this, I talk about the cookies, and you've got cookies on your table this afternoon. If I gave you a cookie and I took a bite out of it, it'd still be a cookie. It'd still probably taste exactly the same, but it loses a little bit of that specialness, a little bit of that gift, both for me as the one giving it to you, as well as the one receiving it. So NetGiver is here to make sure that when you give a cookie, when you make a generous decision, a generous financial decision, that has its full impact that you intend, and you can feel as good about giving it as the nonprofit feels about receiving it. So let's take a look at what that means in your community. So the people at SouthPoint, Max and Kim and everyone else who have had the great luck of working with over the last while have been working hard with the nonprofits to help them become aware of the opportunity. These are just a small list of the nonprofits available. We have over 450 nonprofits so far on the platform here in Minnesota. It takes them only about 5 minutes, and SouthPoint and I am happy to help, answer any questions. We've got some real champions in our community too. And what it means is that when you go into NetGiver, whether it's on your phone or on the website, we've tried to make it as easy as possible, and you find a nonprofit that you want to donate to, it takes just a couple clicks of a button to do that. Kim's gonna help me out here to show exactly what that means and how easy it is. And when you think about this, again, who's familiar with Venmo? I know that's sort of a newer thing, or Zelle. These payment systems are becoming more popular, but an easy way to think about it is more like bill pay, right? SouthPoint makes it possible for you to pay your bills. Do they charge you to pay your bills with bill pay? I'm gonna say that no, because they believe that you should be able to pay your bills easily. Well, NetGiver is just that. It is bill pay for charitable giving, making it nice and simple. So when Kim goes to her NetGiver, we're logged in already as Kim. It takes a few minutes for us to do that. And then she sees here the 3 different nonprofits that SouthPoint right now is supporting, is encouraging members to get behind. That's something that SouthPoint changes out from time to time. The foundation could be here from time to time, pet rescues, food shelves. But I'm gonna take the suggestion that we're gonna donate to the Sleepy Eye Area food shelf. Click on charity details. We just make sure it's the right nonprofit, and then go ahead and click on give to this charity. We're going to enter $25 here. This is easy to then make your donation of $5 or $500, whatever it is you want to give, whether you want to include a memo. All of that information is optional. And then just go ahead and slide to give Kim, and we see a celebration. It's that easy. She made a $25 donation now to the Sleepy Eye Area Food Shelf. All of that information is tracked now, so come tax time, it's there. She can print it, send it to her tax preparer if she gets help, and have all of that in one place. So whether it's the food shelf, again, your faith organization, a kids booster club, it's all there. But where this also really becomes valuable is it's not just the 3 nonprofits that SouthPoint is encouraging you to give to. It's whatever you care about. SouthPoint is encouraging you and supporting you and your values. So we're going to click on Find a Charity now. And I know SouthPoint's also pretty engaged in Children's Miracle Network Hospitals or CU for Kids. So if you could type that in. This searches the full IRS database of 501c3 organizations. So that's 1.5 million. So this is all your nonprofits in your community are here. So it takes a minute. And it's the one at the top. If you click on that. So now I found a cause that I care about, that I get to support, and know that SouthPoint has my back in this, that still the nonprofit's going to get 100% of my donation. So go ahead and, yep, $25, slide to give. And in probably under a minute, we've made 2 donations easily and supported. I'm going to get an email now, or actually Kim will get an email now tonight, celebrating her donation, helping her to track it, keeping a record, of course, in the system for her. And this is a way that SouthPoint is just showing again and again that, you know, you are a community. This is the cooperative movement is a set of shared values that bring you together and keep you together. And this is something that banks cannot offer to their customers. This is a credit union movement. This is a credit union product that only can exist within the credit union system. It's founded on that belief of people helping people. Thank you, Kim. So take a look, explore it. I have some information if you want more information. Invite your nonprofits to learn more about it, because all donors can use this. You don't have to be a member of a credit union to be able to donate with NetGiver. That's, again, that credit union belief in their communities and doing better as a whole. And then if you do have questions and want to reach me, I'm pretty darn accessible. I try to be. My information's up on the screen, and I can't wait to see how this grows and the impact we make together. Already over $400,000 has been donated through NetGiver, which means $28,000 that would have been lost to fees, that would have been lost on its way to nonprofits, is now making a difference in our community. So thank you again for letting me join you. I'll be hanging out with Max and Kim and Jay after if you have any questions, and I really appreciate this spirit of collaboration in credit unions. So thanks for welcoming me today.
Now I've got control. Okay, so anyway, 2 more items. We'll have the concluding comments and adjournment. First of all, I'd like to thank Miriam for making the presentation of NetGiver this afternoon. Now, to close out the official business meeting, and then after that, we'll have the drawing for the fabulous prizes back in the corner of the room. So, all business reports and activities of the 86th annual meeting have been completed. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion? Motion in the back table there. Can you please state your name? And Richard Smith. Okay, thank you, Richard. And do I have a second? Did you get Margaret? Okay, Wendy's got it, so thank you. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Yes in the chat box if you're online. but motion carries. Thank you. So that concluded our official business meeting.